Hello, everyone, and welcome to KWCC. I am your host, KaijuX. Today, we're going to be doing things a little differently. It's been a while since we last had a pre-recorded video, and on top of that, we technically did like two separate pre-recorded sessions. No one seemed to have been available for this one, so I'm kind of taking over a couple matches just by myself, if only just to make sure we have our bases covered, because I'll be frank, we kind of forgot the last few matches before 420. So, I mean, fortunately, we got everyone before 420. So, in that instance, we are, there's going to be plenty to go around. But at the very least, it would feel wrong of me not to at least cover 418, 419, and match 104 before that. Because in our first session, we did 420, 105, and our discussion of Godzilla -1, so stay tuned for that. Nevertheless, I'm just going to get started right away because I am your host, KaijuX, and I am going to be the only one here temporarily up until the second half of the video. Second half? Who am I kidding? Until the 420 discussion, where the others come in and all give their respective thoughts, but nevertheless, I'll just start this out solo with Match 418, Muto Prime versus Legion. Written by Matthew Freese and banner by Landon Soto. First off, I have to say, okay, first thing I want to get off right away before I talk about like the actual contents within. Great banner from Landon. I love Legion looks fantastic, but Muto Prime has always kind of caught my eye. Just because it was like, I know that was a figure I took, but the amount of detail, I feel like there was just like a lot of like, as a fellow Photoshop editor, there was just like a lot of like tweaking and editing to the to Muto Prime that looks really good compared to the figures I had compared to the figure I had like taken a picture of as a reference point. And it looks fantastic. It's nice, simple. It's nice, simple, and straightforward, but hey, doesn't need to be any more complex than that. And hey, it looks great. I got no complaints. The Landon Soto banner. Good job, Ditto. Nevertheless, though, but for the actual match, no, I kind of had fun with this one. I like the fact that I was like, okay, what if Legion came to Earth in early MonsterVerse times, where the monsters were more abundant during that time of radiation, when radiation was super abundant, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of our general premise. And when Legion comes to wipe out life, Muto Prime, ironically, has to act as the defender for Muto kind. So I do kind of like the, Legion's doing her thing, and then Muto Prime is just doing her thing for the survival of their species. So it was a nice, survival to the fittest, very much survival of the fittest kind of match, which, I mean, not the newest thing in the KWC world, but it is a fun interpretation. And even if the GVR of 2023 is better than the GVR of 2020, this is still a fun submission. I have had a blast reading it, and I think the powers of each monsters were used relatively well. Like, it's almost kind of hard, almost just kind of hard not to, be. Yeah, no, it's also been a while since I've last read this, to be frank, but at the same time, though, I saw the blast with it. I think it's still a good, solid match between these two titans. And then just, personally, and I'm gonna go into the ending, or at the very least, the final outcome. I kind of was not expecting Legion to take this W. I really just was not expecting that. But I don't mind it. Legion needs a little more W's under her belt. It's been a while since she had one, and hey, sweet. Nevertheless, though, it's still kind of just really fun, simple matchup. And I mean, that's all KWC really needs to be at the end of the day. But apparently, according to this Facebook commenter here, he says, truth be told, this match was incomprehensible. I'm like, did we read the same thing? I feel like he posted that comment on the wrong match. That is my take. Anyway. But yeah, no, it's nice, solid matchup. Good job, Matthew. It's solid. The one funny story I do have with this match, though, is the fact that I had gotten him back. Yeah, no, he had finished it in 2020, and I had gotten it. Oh gosh, we had basically we have like things scheduled ahead of time at the KWC, right? So imagine this, that I think in August of last year I had had planted it into the blog format because you could time when these things come out in the blog, right? So when we made the schedule, I had already had this match in there. I was like, oh, okay, no, I'll be flexible and malleable. So I adjusted it for a certain release in early January. But then things got shifted around more, and then things got shifted around even more. And next thing you know, it was sitting in the blog for a long time. And for that matter, it was I originally did not have plans for this to come out until 2024. But due to changing circumstances, we had to push it up. So I was like, oh, great. Circumstances changed. Now we can put this out. It was always sort of like a contingency. So when whatever our backup plans are, anytime we have a backup plan that falls under, we always resort to a match that's already been reviewed. That's just like, oh, yeah, no, we'll put this one here. And then just kind of move forward with it. And I was like, yeah. No, that works. Works really well. So yeah, no, it's so hilarious to think that this went from August 2022, or at least that's when it was uploaded, and then it was like, oh, okay, August 2022 to January 2023 to January 2024, and then it was pushed up until September 28th. So it's like, that is kind of funny. But yeah, no, that's like probably the biggest notable story I personally have with this one. It's just kind of amusing. Nothing like super crazy or super like, yeah, no, it's just, it's just a fun time. Again, GBR always delivers on the monster fights really well. And I was like, yeah, no, there were no real technical problems with him. He knows how to use his monsters well, and it's still kind of a fun guy. But yeah, no, it's like, what are your thoughts on match 418? I'm kind of curious. Like, sure, I may not have anyone else to talk to at this very moment, but you could always leave your thoughts down in the comments section below and, just tell me what you think. I mean, I'll read them all. It's not like I'm a big YouTuber or anything, so it's like, I'll gladly keep that. Nevertheless, though, yeah, no. Anyone else? Anyone at all? The voices in my head are saying, next one. So, in that case, then, we'll move on from match 418 to match 419. Colossal Titan versus Gyra versus Attack Titan. Written by Tyler Treeshock and myself, Andrew Sudamersky, and banner from Daozang Moa. Now we got two banners here for the technicals here. So I am just probably going to periodically kind of swap them when I'm bored, or if I get, or whatever. And here's banner 1. Here's banner 2. I usually have them arranged differently, but I was a little too late. Nevertheless, though. Yeah, no, but to go off onto that match, though, once again, the story arc of the Titanverse material continues to unfold. You get a little bit more when it comes to Kubal and his overarching mission to just try and find another Titan that's like himself. And it's just like, overall kind of covering the bridge between the end of Zone Fighter versus Colossal Titan, and then ultimately act as a very loose continuation of the two Attack on Titan live action movies. So it's sort of like a prequel. You could say it's like a prequel and a sequel to the live action Attack on Titan movies in a really weird sense. Sure, it's like if you know the basic principles of the movies, you're good to go. But this kind of goes into like, it just puts a lot more focus on Kubal's perspective, and then, the perspective of some of the other big players that are going to be coming up. But yeah, no, nevertheless, I still really enjoyed the match. Tyler had written the good majority of it, and I think it's all still, like, I personally think it's solid. I still enjoy, like, a lot of I think the way he handles, Kubal in particular was, like, obviously he's kind of like one of our big central players in this particular arc. He's kind of like the main character for this particular arc. Even if this one does kind of like distribute the focus to a couple other different characters, it is still kind of like, oh yeah, no, he's just looking for another Titan. And, you do kind of get those fun circumstances where Gyra is misidentified as a Titan. Which, to be fair, always a fun assumption. I know it's kind of the first assumption, but it's always a very fun assumption. Um, so it's like, yeah, no, I think it was still kind of fun to recognize that, and sort of like how the characters tackle it versus the reality of the matter. It's like, oh yeah, Gyra's not a Titan. He never was. Nevertheless, though, yeah, no, I like the story. I like the way it unfolds, and I kind of like the different. I do kind of like the different perspectives on the match. I will admit, I only helped out in a couple of small points, either to give pointers or I most of the final battle between Gyra. Let me switch the image real quick. Most of the final battle between the Attack Titan and Gyra was mostly me. That said, Tyler did kind of like, because I was there to mostly help him get it done. He did help, like, cleaned it up, made it more consistent with everything else around it and whatnot. But it was just like sometimes in order to sometimes in order to get it done, you do just got to get it done and then clean it up afterward. Which, I mean, that's always the important part, right? Like, if you're writing something and you can't quite get through it, just push through it. Even if it's inconsistent at the moment, you could always go back and change it to be more consistent with everything else. So it's like, all right. And it's like, I definitely had like a visual image of how that fight went in my head. So I just kind of had to leave it to Tyler to recontextualize it to be more consistent, basically. But otherwise, though, it's like, this is mostly Tyler's match. And again, I just enjoy the story arc. I like the characters, and I'm very curious to see. Well, I'm still planning on writing that finale, in tandem with Tyler. Oh yeah, finale. Yeah, no, there is actually going to be one more match that comes after this, which is, maybe a little weird, given all the other points that have to be wrapped up. But it's at least going to be a big match, so that'll take all the time that it needs to wrap everything up. Nevertheless, though, I do like, and again, I do really enjoy the match. I think it's a decent entry. So once again, Colossal Titan just can't take an L. Maybe he'll take one in the next one. I don't know. But yeah, no, nevertheless, still, no, I think it's just a fun, compelling story. And yeah, no, like, there are a couple comments that are pointing out certain elements of the story. It's like, yeah, setting something up, maybe. But even then, I don't feel as strong. Like, yeah, no, it's like, setting something up, maybe. We'll see. I mean, obviously, with how busy I am, it is hard for me to focus on the things I want to. Or at the very least, I'm preoccupied with, like, other things that need to happen, like, closer to now as opposed to later. So it is a little trickier for me to, like, work on those projects as I intended. I still want to follow up on those projects because I think it'd be a shame to, like, set them up and never pay them off. But I know that's kind of the infamous thing in the KWC where it's like, oh yeah, no, you have a story arc, you're gonna set it up, never pay it off. I mean, to be fair, I think it's important that other people should, and have the ability to take over for a match, in my opinion. But that's just me. Nevertheless, though, I do want to say real quick, though, in regards to the two banners by Daozai Moi, or Nagoda, no, they are both wonderful banners. He made 3 of them. I don't have the third one in here at the moment, but I thought these two both sold the story the most and conveyed, like, yeah, I thought they sold the story the most and just were just like well composed images. So it was like, oh yeah, no, there wasn't a need to there was absolutely no need to forcibly, like, have a third one with the Colossal Titan, when it was just like, yeah, just keep it to the 2. I like the Colossal Titan one a lot. The Attack Titan one, banner 2, is also really solid. I do like the sort of like, the posing's all fun. Nevertheless, though, it is still kind of like, yeah, no, this one's fun, but I always found the one with the Colossal Titan to be very striking. Very visually striking. You got, like, all the fire around the Colossal Titan, the incredible amount of steam, Gyra in a fun midair pose being punched in the gut. It's all, like, really fun, like, creative compositing. And then you sort of have, like, a nice what I actually think kind of works here is the nice empty skyline over there, and then the Sydney Opera House below it, because it's like obviously that fight is set in Sydney, so it's like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, no, wonderful banners from Nagoda. Yeah, no, nevertheless, I kind of like said, I personally enjoyed it. And what do you guys think of the match? Just be frank with me and put it in the comments below. So, this has been 419, and the next match we have in our lineup, boom, is match KWCE Match 104. Since there's no one else here with me, I'm going to be taking over these duties, and I will say, it's a fun romp. Yes, what a twist! I actually read it because I knew that it was a moderately short match. 23,360 words. That is not long at all. So I was like, okay, gave it a quick read, so that way I could, just kind of say my thoughts. And no, it's a fun romp. I kind of enjoy the premise that it's like, oh yeah, Tommy Pickles freaking experiencing. Okay, spoilers by the way, spoilers. Experiencing something of a nightmare, and ultimately just sort of like living like I semi-figured that's a nightmare, either just because by virtue of Siren Head himself, or even just Reptar being a cartoon character. It was just like, something was bound to give. But I do like the setup. I like the premise. It's still kind of like silly, enjoyable fun, but in sort of like that night, like, it's horrific, but it's also kind of, it's horror themed, but still kind of like silly. And I do like that kind of mixture. It was just like, oh yeah, no, because I mean, it's Reptar versus Siren Head. It's bound to be silly. But I just like the dramatic, like some of the dramatic dramatic fighting and all that fun stuff. I do like the framework of like, oh yeah, Tommy is having a nightmare because he's watching way too many podcasts about friggin' Siren Head and whatnot. So that is kind of fun. At first, the hilarious part for me was that when I first started reading this, I thought I was like, is this the baby? No, this all sounds like the teenager. Okay, good. Oh, lordy. But yeah, no, this was like, yeah, no, like I said, it's a very short, very simple sort of match. It's just a fun little nightmare premise where like Reptar fights Siren Head, and you get your bang for your buck, I'd say. The details are ultimately kind of sparse and quick, but they do keep up a decent pace at the very least. The only parts I found, and again, this could just be an attribute of Siren Head, were parts where it feels like there were like other musical cues playing. I'm not as familiar with Siren Head, so I really don't know. If you guys know better, again, just leave that down in the comments. Nevertheless, though, I do like the fact that I was like, around like the final act, it was like that classic bit of determination where Tommy does his part to help Reptar overcome Siren Head, and it was like, it's almost like a low-key anime moment where it's like, go Reptar! And then it's like, oh, for the final clash, and the winner Siren Head. It was like, oh, interesting. But then he wakes up for the nightmare, but is this the end of the nightmare? Was he experiencing true? Who knows? This seems like a nice, super simple little like solo story that just keeps itself pretty self-contained, all things considered. It was like it was kind of nice to see like just the ending, just to see like this like matchup with like two weird, unusual combatants, but that's the KWCE's whole deal. It's just whatever. It's just like pretty much anything and everything, and it's like, you know what? That's fine. So I will say one of the funnier, more amusing parts on one of the more amusing lines on my end come very early on when Tommy says, "Oh God damn it, why this one?" If only because the idea of even if it's a teenage Tommy, it was like, him swearing like that is hilarious and always will be funny to me. Maybe I just have like a really low sense of standard, but I just find that stuff funny. It was just like, I mean, granted, big budgeted stuff I would be more upset with because you actually get paid for that. So I feel like there's more diligence due, or you handle it really well. It's all good. But for fan, when it comes to fan fiction, there's a different expectation. So it's just like, yeah, no, the idea of Tommy swearing, even if it is a teenage thing to do, it's just still funny. Because Tommy was such a good-natured kid, from what I remember, that it was just like, yeah, I know him swearing is just funny to me. But yeah, no. And oh yes, the banner from Godzilla Fan 8889. I kind of dig it. I like the they are obviously still adhering to the original styles, but I like the way they both blend in. Like Reptar has a decent sense of there's a lot of shading going on in Reptar, so it doesn't just feel like a PNG of him slapping the banner. I do see a couple of pics. I know these are done kind of in fun and in good spirit, so it's but I'm just pointing out things that I see. I do see a couple of white pixels from whatever background that this originally came from. But freaking I do like the effort put into making him shading him to make sure that it looks like he blends into the environment around him, even if he is like a cartoon character. It is sort of like those little subtle efforts I do always appreciate. That helps the banner a little more, and likewise too. Siren Head looks solid. I see no issue with him. But freaking nevertheless though, but and it's the actual banner itself has a nice haunting atmosphere to it that I do really, really like. But yeah, no. I did want to keep this part relatively short, relatively simple, because the second part where Match 420 is going to be that one's going to be crazy long. So until then, well, why should I say until then? You're going to be experiencing them in 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're recording for realsies. Now it's actually being recorded now for the purposes of this, where I don't edit anything.
But is it being recorded now or now?
Now. Right now.
How about now?
As of this moment, in this particular point in time, in this particular point in reality, it is being recorded now.
I'm gonna record your death and put it on YouTube. Hurry up!
You don't have my permission.
Aurora Borealis. Look localized entirely within your kitchen.
God fucking damn it!
You guys were talking about X-Men 2 seconds ago. Oh gosh. I think wait, hang on. I get my other stuff right now. No, because I restarted my computer, so I had to close everything out. So I was like, okay, hang on, let's get the things.
Damn this
dude! Oh, this is such chaotic energy. I'm kind of loving it. Okay. Anyway, let's actually begin this crap once for all. I swear to gosh, if anything happens, I think I'm just gonna go jump off a bridge.
Yeah, I'll help you.
KaijuX, it's okay. If GVR helps you, then you get to go to heaven.
Yay!
Exactly.
Well, no, GVR's not gonna go to heaven. What are you talking about?
No. Oh my god, you idiot. GVR is pushing you off the bridge so that way you get into heaven as opposed to you jumping off.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
Brilliant!
Start the fight!
Yeah.
It's not this hard!
And then GVR jumps in himself afterward.
Oh, welcome to the KWCC special. I'm your host, Fat Baking Unicorn, and today I'm here with GVR, KaijuX, and Alex. And today we're doing a special on our match 420, also known as Escape from Tokyo. What are your thoughts, Matthew Freeze?
I don't know. I think we need to delay this by 5 more hours.
That is the intro. You're keeping that.
Yes, I am. I was actually going to do the intro, but then you took it. And I was like, wait, this is Bacon and Alex's match. This is kind of perfect.
Yeah, this is a special episode because we didn't do the KWCC for several months and then did an event month. So we have a lot to cover, and we're going to separate this out over multiple episodes instead of trying to do a 20-hour live stream.
Yeah. Even though Harley would have been excited for a 10-hour live stream, but, you know.
Well,
that's-
she's not here right now.
That is true.
It's just us. Don't summon her from work.
Anyway, yes, today we're discussing match 420. We're going to discuss KWCE 105.
105? Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to talk about Godzilla -1.
Yes. Yeah, no. And then we'll just kind of see we'll just kind of see how long it goes and see where we go from there, because I'm pretty sure there's at the very minimum, even if our actual thoughts are kind of maybe not, like, again, it is sort of weird to go back to the regular audio quality, but I didn't necessarily feel like doing a live stream, and given all the hilarious behind the scenes hiccups that had happened trying to get this going, I do not want to imagine the hiccups that would have happened on live. So
Yeah, if you try to do this live, your computer's going to explode.
But yes, no.
Okay.
Nevertheless, yeah, no. It's a per Bacon's request. GBR match 420. What do you think of it?
Okay, yes. Match 420, Attack Titan, Jet Jaguar Showa, and Ultraman Jack versus Gamer Heyyyy with Super X. Also titled Escape from Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Is I thought it sucked. There was way too much talking.
Oh, so you're saying it was woke?
That too.
Are you reading our Facebook comments?
Yes. No, this match was superb. I will be very surprised if this does not win the match of the year. I would bet money that it will at least get into like the top 3 or 5. Or do I even start with this? Okay. I'll start with the banner since I'm looking at it right now. Excellent work from Tyler. Love the atmosphere of this one. Zone Fighter is dead, which is epic.
He had to pay for his crimes of being in a terrible show.
Yes. Yeah. I can pretty much say that this match is excellent in all angles.
Okay, that's the end of the podcast. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, I'm done now. No, yeah, I'm probably not going to like talk a whole lot because, as has been made clear, I'm not in the mood to really do this. But I'll say that the story very excellently written.
No!
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Joe.
My favorite person.
Yeah.
Continue
Story.
your thoughts.
Written very excellently. Thought it made great use of all of the characters involved. It's there's a lot of worlds going on here, but they're all blended very well, and I enjoyed that.
Even if
It
the
did throw me
world
for a
somehow didn't end.
Yeah, it did throw me for a bit of a loop. The fact that like my hero characters are more so like Marvel or DC metahumans, where it's like they're not the majority of the population. But I was able to get into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's a kind of a retcon we had to make just to like account for the other franchises, because
Yeah.
otherwise you would see everyone being a superhero and everyone would have been asking,
I mean, to be
couldn't they
fair,
all just banded together to kill a giant monster?
right? I mean, to be
Yeah.
to be kind of fair, not everyone with a quirk is necessarily a hero. Because again, a quirk could just range from anything from like I could pop my eyeballs out to stretchy tongue to just other like a bunch of nonsense. So really, I think like the amount of those that are capable of being real heroes is just like a matter of skill. Really.
Yeah.
KaijuX, you say that, but that could have stopped Godzilla in his 84 attack. Gave him a heart attack if he saw someone pop their eyeballs out.
Okay, you got me there.
Well, yeah, even without like, the whole hero thing, it's just like if you don't do that retcon, then my hero sort of like overwhelms all the other settings.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if not everyone really has like a superpower that can really kill, it's just like everyone has a quirk or they're an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Enjoyed our main heroes. Enjoyed all of their various arcs. Was very happy to see this story use Momo better than the actual show does.
And
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely one thing that disgusts me about the show.
Yeah,
Even
but
fucking pointed that out.
Oh yeah.
yeah. As well, the villains were really well written as well, as was the survivors in Tokyo. All excellently written characters. Bernie and Pigmon were the best part of any KWC ever.
Those two were good. Holy shit.
No, those are orcs. Green people aren't real.
So you're telling me that you have fought alien invasions, kaiju, and things like Pigmon, but people with slightly pointy ears? Next, you're gonna tell me that unicorns don't exist.
Holy crap. That guy was a freaking
Yeah.
Bernie's a gold mine for comedy here. Holy shit.
Best human part of GVK.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah. All that as well, and the action was superb. Very much loved all the zombie action sequences. And the kaiju stuff, obviously, is a very small portion of the match, but you guys did make it stand out a lot. Gamera's fight with Jack and
Jaguar.
Jaguar, yes. Yes, that fight was excellent.
Well, KaijuX, it was okay. It took GBR a minute because there was two of them in the match.
Which
I
Jaguar
forgot
was
who
it?
the third. I forgot who the third good monster was. I was like, no, Aaron fought the Super X. Who was the third one?
He's on the banner.
I'm not looking at the banner right now. I'm looking at memes.
That is the most GBR tactic I've ever heard. I'm looking at the memes.
But yeah, no. Yes, Jaguar and Jack, excellent team up, and the fight against Gamera was awesome. I think by this point we can talk about spoilers.
Yeah,
The match came out
yeah,
months
no,
ago.
Yeah, no, match came out a while ago, so not super worried about it. And for that matter, GBR's review, I think, was a decent, like, spoiler-free sort of version. So if you want to, like, you know, read the match for yourself, then by all means. I think it's a very easy recommendation from all of us to just, like, it's the new longest match, too, which is like, shit, you guys just friggin' went
Yeah, we have a
at it.
chapter system. You might want to use it.
Yes!
80,000 words in a month.
Jesus. Holy hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, friggin'...
But yeah, going into spoiler talk,
Yeah.
Gamera using the banishing fist on the ground was peak.
Let's go.
Oh yeah, no, that was rad. That was rad.
As was the flashback to the day of the outbreak. Yeah, like I said the kaiju stuff, the kaiju fights are very minimal, but like if you want action, you're not going to be missing out on it.
Yeah, this is Godzilla Final Wars with a better structure.
Yeah.
Damn, that is an epic compliment.
Hey.
Well, better structure and Gordon dies.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, no, overall, excellent match. Easily one of the best of the year. And I absolutely look forward to what comes next in this series.
Whoa.
Well,
All right.
all right.
I give the floor to KaijuX.
Hooray! It's my turn, I think. But Joe's ahead of me. But at the same time...
Yo, what do you think of Match 420's banner?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Hooray!
Thank you for your thoughts, Joe. now it is KaijuX's turn.
No, wait. Joe, since
Yeah.
I have a writing credit, and I have a writing credit for 2 other matches this year, would you say this is one of the 3 best matches of the year?
Damn it!
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, sister.
I'm making dick writing illegal if I ever go into Congress.
This is nepotism.
But it's the only way. It's the only way you'll sustain in Congress.
Holy shit!
But yeah, no. Match
Thank you, Joe. You're the best.
No problem.
But Match 420. Holy shit. the amount of work you guys put into this is freaking insane. And like Alex had already alluded to, it was like 80,000 words in the span of a month. And I'm like, what were you guys on working on this? I'm like, what the frick? I barely have the energy to write like 3 sentences. Here you are going like, brrr, at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's like, jeez Louise. I remember my eyes widening every single time I heard progress of like, is it actually going to surpass 57k words? It got closer, and then it surpassed it. And then it was just a matter of, let's see how long it takes before it actually stops. And then it was like 80,000 words. And GBR and I had like, what, a week to edit it?
Yeah.
No, you had 10 days.
Okay,
You had 10 days.
10 days, yeah. It rounded down to a week, but whatever. Yeah, 10 days. It was still hot damn. I remember reviewing it at the time and kind of being like, oh yeah, no, I remember I was actually going to try and review this sucker in a day, or like go through it in a day. And I was like, this is like, you know, I go through from like the prologue. I think I had started the prologue, took a minor break, and then I think started from chapter 1. And I got all the way to like chapter 8. And I'm like, this isn't too bad. This is well paced. I look to the sidebar and I'm like halfway through. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. So yeah, no, that was that was one hell of a monster. But all things considered, though, the story, oh my gosh, this is a thoroughly like very enjoyable apocalypse story. I really enjoyed sort of like the setup, the dynamics. Even the way like I said, GBR may have mentioned about like, okay, you know, retconning my hero elements. That kind of makes sense when you think about it, like logistically. But the way it works here in the world is like more than fine. It's like, oh, that's okay, awesome. It just works. It is still somewhat weird that we exist in a world with like all these superpowered things. Yet the thing that seemed to have taken it down was zombies. It seems a little silly, but the premise itself works so well. I don't have an issue with it. So it's just really cool to have all of these different elements and all these different like puzzle pieces clearly being like, you know, moved around. And even though this is a like, you know, a very clear start to the series, like start of a series that I'm sure we'll get to learn more of as we move along. I think it still works really well by itself, because it's like you kind of get the like the basic mission in Tokyo as sort of like the thing that holds this particular chapter on its own accord. Then you kind of get like all the different like character conflicts, character interests of going out trying to find them. Some with like, you know, like very personal missions, and then those relating to those like, you know, that kind of empathy. It was like, you know, just basically like Jack being reunited with Aki, and just how that sort of, yeah, no, it's like it gives some kind of like underlying hope to the entire thing, that like you hope that nothing bad happened to them. And then likewise, it's like, oh, you don't just have the zombies, you have Shikishima's team, who work as great antagonists. Though like those guys had everyone on the hero team had my interest. Everyone on Shikishima's team also had my interest. So you kind of have this nice, then you get like a nice dichotomy between the two sides, sort of like hunting these grounds and kind of doing things of their own volition. And then you get the actual zombies, which were like, ooh. While I do think there is a bit of a, like, granted, the backstory does kind of help. It's almost crazy. That friggin' chapter 12 is kind of nuts. You basically get a short story inside of a novel, which is kind of nuts. I was like, oh yeah, no, casually, here's the short story of how the world came to an end. But friggin'...
Oh, there's so much more to that.
Oh yeah.
Than you realize.
Oh, probably. But still, it's kind of like, oh man. Like I said, the character work is really great, and even the monster action is like, the monster action's still pretty good. It was like you kind of get invested enough like all the characters by that point to still like, it's still like very solid monster action all the way through. I kind of like, yeah, no, I really enjoyed like Jack and Jaguar versus Gambra. That's obviously, like highlighting the monster track. But I kind of enjoyed the Attack Titan versus Super X too. Super X as well, I should say. Uh, like versus Super X, which was like, ooh, it was kind of cool to see just like that, like a smaller scale fight and a bigger scale fight. Like it kind of like breaks up the diversity of the battles that happened within this particular story. But freaking like, yeah, no, it's like you got a lot of like really like a lot of things happening, but never enough to where you don't. I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see because again, you guys said you want to make this a series. You have various plans to make it a series. Good luck with you guys on that. But freaking like what's going to be interesting to me is like coming back to this one after all said and done. It was like, because I'm wondering it's like how much is going to change on rereading this in the future once once all those promises have been fulfilled. And I was like, very, very interested. But yeah, no, it's like really just hot dang. I would even say like, and yeah, no, there's actually one more faction to all this too, being the zombie faction. That like, I think they still work really well. Like, if there's any kind of criticism I have, I get that this is going to go kind of going balls deep in terms of sort of like throwing everything in there. That makes perfect sense to me. And I think this will all expand upon very naturally as the series continues. And again, a lot of this, I think a lot of the hangups I have of this now is just sort of like, I think it's maybe excessive in terms of what's inside it. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of it works really well. But I think for a lot of people, it's going to be like, Green Man? Grant Caesars? What? Sort of like, I think especially for the layperson, is just going to be a little like, what the heck is going on here? Most of it, I think, it still works on its own accord real nicely. There's just a couple other parts where it's just like, who is this? What? What's going on?
You need to do more stuff with Grand Caesars.
Yeah, more so with Grand Caesars than anything else. But yeah, I mean, if you know, then like,
Well, they need to spend more time in the dumpsters then.
Yes, they do. But yeah, like I personally had no issue with it at all because it was like, oh yay! But I'm even saying on its own accord, it does feel like it's like a lot is being thrown at you at a point. But at the same yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure it'll all kind of come together as the series progresses too. So it's like, all right, we'll see where this goes. Nevertheless, though, yeah, no, hot. I would say probably my favorite. I think what still remains my favorite moment is Zombie Armin. That, like I said, that's a massive spoiler right there. But Zombie Armin, I think, is single-handed. Like him and Shikishima, I think are my like two favorite elements of this entire match.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's like I love the way, like, yeah, no, a zombie that has retained its intelligence, has some kind of grudge thing with Eren, and it's like, okay, that's not going to be resolved here, but it was still a wonderful interaction. That was just like, I am kind of stoked to see more of him. And again, Shikishima, that guy is a chin rizzler. He's the best chin rizzler around. It is so good. But yeah, no, it's like, and again, intrigued to see where he goes because it's like, okay, part of the Red Bamboo. And it was like, what the heck is going on there? Poor Yoon, kidnapped by them, but still kind of like, you get all these wonderful stakes and a lot of elements that do pay off, and then elements that are definitely left open-ended for like future stuff. So it's like, cool boy. How long? I guess if you took a month, if you guys did this in a month, I guess we'll see you next month when the sequel comes out. But yeah, freaking whatchamacallit. Yeah, no, Bernie Pig, like I said, Bernie Pigmon dynamic. That crap was freaking hilarious. They were definitely a fantastic comedy duo through and through. And it was, you know what? Salute to Pigmon. He was a real one. I was kind of sad when he died. I was like, son of a bitch. Even if it was sort of funny, it was like, Son of a bitch. See,
I hate that I accidentally made him likable.
Yeah, you made me care for Pigmon. The fuck, Alex? Right, being a good writer?
But yeah, friggin', yeah, I know. And like, there are obviously a lot of fun, like, cheeky homages. I think one of the funnier ones to me was
The
the
world is
Minecraft.
worse for their podcast not coming to fruition.
Oh yeah, damn. That's right, their podcast. Oh, that's freaking funny. One day, maybe Bernie will find someone else in life, only to lose him again. Before you but yeah, no, it was like, jeez Louise. And again, I think what's also amazing is a good day to die also feels like its own story compacted into this. Like, I feel like there is sort of like a novel like, I feel like I've seen this somewhere before where it's sort of, you have a big story, and then there's like Watchmen! Watchmen! Kind of reminds me of Watchmen.
Hey, good comparison.
Yeah, sort of like how you have the like the main story, and then you have sort of like the internal story within that's sort of reflecting the story, kind of like the story that's a meta story in the story kind of thing. Except, obviously it's a flashback. I understand that core difference, but I mean, like, it tells its own story inside this story is what I'm trying to get at. You could almost read chapter 12 almost by itself, in my opinion, and get a complete experience. Like that, yeah, chapter 12 is kind of crazy. Green Man's another one that sticks out to me because one, freaking Toho junkie, I know this crap, and two, I like the actual like personality given to him. That still kind of sticks out to me. That I was like, oh wow, an actual character for this character that I kind of like, even though I don't think he has really much of a personality in the original show. So it's like, hey, that's awesome. Yeah, no, there are a lot of wonderful like things that tie into like, and I think what's the most fun too is sort of like the amount of like Toho elements that were surprisingly incorporated. Like, I know the virus, like, yeah, CQN is like, based on the movie I Am a Hero. Like, obviously some liberties taken, but friggin', it's still like a wonderful, like, it is nice just to see sort of like taking all these elements and mashing them together into something insane. It's like, hell yeah, let's go. But yeah, friggin', yeah, no, it's friggin' crazy ass adventure here. But yeah, no, it's just a really, I almost can't really like say too much else because it was like, this is really just an insanely like well structured story, like beginning to end, and it's just, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I will admit it did get a little, on the editing front, it did get a little confusing when you kind of kept jumping back and forth between Zat and Matt. Never mind the fact that I think Zat's also another team in Ultraman.
It's in Taro.
Yeah.
I
So,
I get the confusion, but
yeah, like
when you think about it, it makes sense.
It makes sense. No, like, yeah, no, when you think about it, it makes sense. I was like, okay, this is zombie attack team, but not monster attack team. Makes sense. The change in name makes perfect sense. I'm just saying it's a little confusing, like, especially when it's going back and forth. It's like, does he mean Matt? Does he mean that? So I had to keep a close eye out on whether or not it was like former Matt or, just Zat. Because I think there were just a couple instances where it was just Matt without the Z when I think it was meant to be modern. So I was like, oh, okay. So I had to try to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, freaking, yeah, no, golly. Yeah, no, even with the 10 days of editing, I had a blast reading through this, just through and freaking through. And when I resumed picking up for chapter 9, dear gosh, I was embellishing that thing so hard. Because that was like the first chapter with the Shikishima, I believe. Like, where the group encounters him. Like, yeah, freaking, that was wild. That was freaking wild. So, yeah, no, loved it, like, beginning to end. All the way through. Again, just and again, any complaints I do have are either going to be rectified with sequels or again, they're just so minor. I have nothing to actually complain about. It was just sort of like, oh, like, just minor confusion. Once that's cleared up, it's like, oh, okay, cool. But everything else, though, made perfect sense, and even utilized like the attributes of the zombie and the ZQN in a way that was like, ooh, that's really cute. That's really cool. Shit. But yeah, freaking dang. Thank gosh for the chapter system.
Yeah.
Moly. But yeah, no, either way, like, yeah, you two pat yourselves on
Alex
the
is
back.
why we have that in the first place.
Yes, very much so.
Yep. You're welcome.
Yeah, Mister broke the record 3 times.
I'm gonna make fucking do it a 4th time.
You're gonna one day. Nevertheless, though, yeah, and I also want to say on the banner, Greyshot did an amazing freaking banner for this one. Jeez Louise. Like, it was almost kind of killer, like, just how it looks, how it's presented, and freaking just, like, I think it captures the mood of the match incredibly well. Like, hot dang. That was friggin', killer banner to a killer match. Friggin', jeez Louise. Yeah, no, this was crazy. This was pure, like, top to bottom insanity, and I think it ultimately works for it. So, yeah. Another one of my favorite moments was actually Gamera's conclusion. It was like, oh yeah, no, he brought Asagi back very briefly, and then she, like, reversed back to a zombie, which was kind of depressing. So it was like, damn, that's kind of sad. But yeah, no, it's like, I love the way Gamera's antagonist's role fulfilled the. Yeah, no, that's another thing I want to say. I love the fact that it was the most fun way to retroactively make Gamera a zombie without actually making him a zombie. That was such a creative use of the character's natural attributes in these abnormal circumstances. And it made so much sense. It was like, yeah, Gamera's still fulfilling his role as a zombie killer, but freaking, like, he is now being influenced by the will of a zombie, more or less. And it was like, ooh, that was really fun. That was really, really freaking fun. But yeah, no, freaking, again, this is a blast of a match, like, top to bottom, beginning to end. I really have no complaints with it. Like, aside from the stuff that I already mentioned, it was like, I had a blast with it, and hopefully, come back to it one day, whether with its sequels, whether it's, just like, I'm bored, I want to do something, read the longest match again. But yeah.
Read Green Man getting his head blown off.
Hey! Anyway. I'm just happy he was used. But yeah, freaking.
Yeah, I wrote him getting his head blown off, and I think that's the most respect he ever got.
It's pain because it's true.
But yeah, freaking, yeah, I know, I really don't have, like, I think too much else to really say. I think I'm gonna have to leave, like, if anything comes back to mind, I'll let it be known, but otherwise, though, I think we are gonna have to, obviously we're gonna pass the buck off to Alex and Bacon, since they are the writers of this match. Made sure to schedule this KWC sees that way they can both kind of give their full thoughts on the matter, and that way we can actually, that way we could actually not worry about, that way we can give their thoughts wholeheartedly. And I think I've said enough of my piece that I feel ultimately kind of happy with. It was like, this was just freaking rad, like, beginning to end. It was like, yeah, what a wonderful Halloween thing, especially for those that are longtime KWCC listeners. An element that was a long time sort of, like, restricted, because it was like, I think it was just the simple matter that it was like we didn't have a concrete zombie virus movie in our, like, to our knowledge. I Am a Hero, which is the movie the virus comes from, was something from 2015. So theoretically, had we found that movie sooner, we would have been able to use zombies a lot sooner. Because I believe that, for just minor trivia, match 185 was a match that was going to have zombie kaiju, but that was rejected because we didn't have I Am a Hero in our catalog at that time, so it had to be compromised with Matengo. That was sort of the original plan, but that had to be compromised just because we didn't know. But consider 420 sort of like being able to finally realize the idea of zombies in the KWC. How far you guys will take it from here, I don't know, but I really do kind of like how this was ultimately done. So, like I said, Gamera being sort of the zombie kaiju without actually being a zombie kaiju, our hero group being sort of like, like all of them immune to zombies to some degree, and then the Super X for being the vessel for the Red Bamboo, which is super rad. So, like, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Shikoshima's gonna take over and just call it the Chin Fuckers.
Yes. That's just gonna be a sports team name, Chin Fuckers. Yeah, no. So it's like it's really nice to finally get the realization of the zombie concept in the KWC. Finally, after many workarounds, it was like, oh, this was the holy grail moment. It was just like, zombies at last, and a pretty malleable one too. But I'm sure Bacon, because I know Bacon's read I Am a Hero, like watched the movie, read the manga, so he's the one that has the most expertise with it. But it was like, yeah, no. Nevertheless, though, anyway, though, yeah, no, I'll pass it off to Alex and Bacon. Let them talk about 420 in great detail, and enjoy, boys. Like I said,
All
had a
right.
blast with it.
That was all great to hear. Before I hand it to Alex, the little bit of behind the scenes, because I don't remember which of us pitched this. So when Marvel's What If was coming out, the Marvel Zombies episode happened. And it made me remember, I had a KWCE idea forever ago. And I think at the same time, I don't remember if I pitched it to him or if he came to me coincidentally being like, we should do a KWCE that's a Marvel Zombie thing.
No, what happened is we watched the episode. We still really liked it, despite us. We could probably go into an hour of discussing its flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was originally going to be a continuation of that episode, and then because it was going to be Godzilla Marvel versus Ultraman with Spooderman being the host versus Zombified Wasp. We were going to do that, and then they announced Marvel Zombies, the show was going to happen, and we were like, okay, there's a good chance we're just going to copy each other on this, so let's just scrap it for something else. Because I think we were still brainstorming this as a separate project, and I just said, hey, what if we just cannibalize that and introduce my hero into this as our superhero element?
That's right.
Yeah, because originally, my hero was not going to be part of this. It was originally just supposed to be Aaron, Hideki, and Jet Jaguar. Momo was a later addition.
Which that decision definitely helped us in the long run, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there was anything else before I hand it to you. Nah, I'll say all that later. You go, man.
Ooh, where do we begin? But
Damn.
no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just trying to think, where do we begin? Yeah, I definitely really liked a lot of the character stuff we did, because I think that was, well, I think it's funny. Like I said before, Bacon kind of came up with the idea. I got interested and offered to help develop it, and that's how we obviously got a novel. Yeah, I think obviously what hooked me is because you all know I love writing characters. That's my favorite thing to do with these things. I don't like how everyone's silent.
I just letting you like have your thoughts.
Yeah, no, we're all just letting you have your thoughts, man.
It's not the MCU. I don't need a joke every 5 seconds. So yes, please continue your thoughts.
GVR's "I'm listening" sounds like a fucking quote from an MCU movie.
Damn, he was just telling you that he's listening. Didn't like this? The fuck?
Yeah, I think it was just majorly shit. No, there's just like so much to cover here that's like I have no idea where to begin. I guess I could go down the chapters and discuss what we each wrote.
Yeah.
Like prologue, that was Bacon. I think aside from maybe like a sentence or two, chapters 1 and 2 were me. Bacon was 3. 4 was you. Yeah. 5 was a mixture of you and me. I did the stuff with Korgiri. Chapter 6 was me. Chapter 7 was me. Chapter 8 was Bacon. Chapter 9 was a mixture of us. Chapter 10 was you. Chapter 11 was me. Chapter 12 is, well, that's going to be the fun one. Obviously a mixture of Bacon and I. Favorite bit to write of that was the Levi and Green Man interaction.
Yeah, I loved the bouncing back and forth between them.
Because 1, it gave me a character I like writing with, and 2, gave me a blank slate on Green Man. Even though Levi is definitely me in that situation, even though I did want to still give Green Man respect and just not make him like someone I encounter on the streets. About the Jeebus. And of course, killing Gordon was definitely one of my favorite things, both times. Oh yeah, definitely with the Aaron, Birdie, and Pigman encounter with Gordon. I kind of like, obviously, yeah, I still wanted to treat it seriously with the Aaron and Birdie, like Gordon part. Like, still give him that feel of tension, which I think I did pretty well, but you guys know Gordon is one of the characters I hate the most in this franchise.
Yeah.
So I wanted Birdie and Pigman to kill him because, 1, it's funny, and 2, it kind of does elevate Aaron's character that he does have people in the shitty new world that he could be close with. Like, yeah, those two are goofy as hell, but they do humanize Aaron, so despite me basically humiliating Gordon, it does have a purpose. Oh yeah, I know Bacon requested I write the zombie Armin part, which I'm glad he did, because that is one of my favorite bits to write. I know, like, yeah, I didn't really do as much, still did quite a bit with Hideki and Jack, but it's like, I still did a lot, but it's like, after the Return of a Good Man match, it's like, I kind of want to focus on Aaron more on this match.
Yeah.
Because I just wrote a whole nother novel with those two.
Yeah, no, that.
And I want to focus on this other character.
If I may interfere real quick, if I
No.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
You have the talking stick.
Okay. Friggin' what we call it? Yeah, no, it was like that makes sense because it was like you literally just did a whole other novel previously earlier this year that focused on them, so it does kind of make sense. I was like, oh yeah, no, like they'll still be there because again, Jack's cool. Give Jack more matches, please. But for yeah, no, I get that. I was like, in terms of that dynamic, it didn't need to. From the perspective of a creator that has already written stuff with those characters greatly in depth, it did kind of make sense to be like, we can hold back on that. No, and again, I'm a little biased. I love Attack on Titan, so it's like anytime Attack on Titan elements get the center focus, I'm like, yes, yes. So it's like, yeah, but yeah, no, choosing the focus, have a greater focus on Eren made a lot more sense, and I think it still works off real nicely. So
Yeah, because I think that's something Bacon and I kind of subconsciously decided is make Eren the central protagonist.
yeah, especially with Shikishima as the Chin Rizzler, I think that's a natural conclusion.
We've never had a KWC where Aaron's the protagonist.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, and Shikishima, like, compared to 318, where I think KaijuX and I wanted to make him more sympathetic, where, yeah, he's still a piece of shit, but we're going to slowly build up to him being a better person.
Mhm.
Oh, here, I just want him to be a over-the-top, like, mustache-twirling cartoon villain you see in other zombie movies.
Yeah, it works really well, too.
That's what... Yeah, because that's the vibe I really wanted with him.
He was kind of like, was it Lieutenant Rhodes? Captain Rhodes?
Colonel Rhodes from
Colonel
Day of
Rhodes
the Dead.
From Day of the Dead. Yeah, very much gave me that kind of energy. He was clearly the biggest threat in the entire sort of, like, he was the biggest threat aside from the zombies. He was just as over the top, but was still very much like a kind of a menace in his own way. So it's like, oh, yeah, no, that very, and again, high compliments. I love Major Rhodes in Day of the Dead. So it's like, yeah, no, that just all works out real well.
Oh, yeah, and like talking with Chapter 7, it's like, I know when with Shikishima's group encountering those civilians, Bacon mentioned saying, oh, is there a way you could kill, like, a minor My Hero character? I'm like thinking, without going into too much of spoilers, it's like, that's going to be hard considering we have pretty much every character's fate planned in the series. Bacon can tell you that much because we pretty much spent hours talking about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then I was thinking, the most recent My Hero season, the Fox lady Izuku saves in that season going, oh, she's a minor character. People will know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And that'll tug your heartstrings, even
Yeah.
if she's a minor character.
Yeah.
Especially with her being giant and Shikishima going for the nape.
Right.
And, oh yeah. And considering the 3 hero characters, I wanted to include a little reference to each of them from past matches I wrote. In Chapter 13, when Shikishima and Eren reunite, Eren says the same exact thing to Shikishima in 318 when they're on top of the wall talking. Eren says piss off, Shikishima says something, and then Eren still says, and my reply is still piss off. Same exact line.
Oh, no kidding. Cheeky bugger.
Jack obviously makes a lot of reference to Return of a Good Man. Except events happen slightly different. And
Jet,
there's plenty
you meant.
with 350 with Chikaku and Patches with
Yeah.
the mystery investigation.
Can't
Yeah,
believe you
especially-
told KaijuX we're never doing another sequel to that match because it's been replaced by zombies.
Oh no,
Damn.
no! Separate continuity. It's just like a
Oh,
homage.
Impossible.
Gee,
So this is also a continuation of Return of a Good Man.
this is impossible. An author can't just reference his own matches? That's impossible.
I know, especially with Jet Jaguar going, I miss Patches.
No, I caught on to that. I think I caught on to that particular reference. I'll admit, I kind of missed the the intro Shikishima intro thing. It was like, oh yeah, no, kind of missed that one. But yeah, no,
the piss off reference.
Yeah, the piss off reference. Yeah, but for the Patches reference was like my heart. But yeah, no, it was like, yeah, no, I figured this wasn't strictly connected to those matches. They're just fun little nods and winks to those matches in a way. Without, like, consider them like an AU. Consider this like a weird ass AU where all 3 of those happened, I guess. Somehow, wait. How the heck would?
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm not gonna think about it too much.
No,
Don't think
thank
about it. There's references.
Yes.
This isn't the MCU YouTube channel
Yes, it
where you
is.
go. They mentioned this name, therefore it's happening in Phase 6.
Right.
And
No, you need to watch all of the X-Men movies before you can read the second match of this series.
God
God.
damn.
damn it, GVR, just saw your comment. Levi and Green Man was just Alex and KaijuX whenever Legend comes up. Oh yeah, there's kind of a Simpsons nod into this with the Attack Titan versus Super X. I'm pretty sure KaijuX will post a link to it or whatever, but I'll obviously describe it. You remember the part where the Attack Titan just sees a group of zombies and just grabs them, throws them at the Super X?
Oh yeah.
It makes me. I was kind of inspired by this Simpsons reference where Homer's in prison and Hans Moleman wheels in like a bookcase, going, "Would you like to reading books?" Homer just panically grabs a book and hits him with it.
God damn.
That's funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so that was a minor reference. Heck, I think that was my favorite part of the actual fight. Just the Attack Titan grabbing zombies and throwing at it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also thinking it's like I said, there's so much shit to cover, so I'm just going all over. Yeah, I don't think in the planning stages we really had like Bernie and Pigman depicted as a duo. I think they were just part of the group.
Yep, they were just there. But I think we subconsciously made that like comedy duo.
Yeah, no, it works
Yeah.
really well too. It really does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I pretty much did, regarding the fights, I did the Attack Titan and Super X fight. Bacon did the vast majority of the Jack and Jet Jaguar versus Gamma fight. I know I did like, yeah, I think it was just 800 words at most. Everything else was him.
You wrote most of chapter 15.
Yes, that's right. I think
The
you
only
just
part
did
that
the
I
Red
wrote.
Bamboo.
Yeah, I did the Red Bamboo ending. You wrote the rest.
Oh yeah, I think the part I was actually freaking out the most, like in terms of continuity with chapter 15, is mentioning the whole Titan serum with you, and I kept asking Bacon, okay, because this was semi-written out of order. I was like going, okay, Bacon, we gotta make sure we mention the Titan serum at some point. It's like, I think that was the part I was most like freaked out with continuity. It's like, okay, that hasn't been brought up. Okay, we really gotta mention this, dude. We gotta mention this. Oh yeah, I will say there is one piece of criticism I do agree with that I wish I'd done differently. Jack doing the ultra sign to find the other ultras. That is something I wish I did differently.
Yeah, no, I could see that, because again, that would be kind of the natural for, especially, that's the thing with ultras, it's like, they're so powerful, they're all able to corral together, it's like, obviously, there's obviously the natural suspension of disbelief, that's like, oh, the circumstances don't allow it, but, you know, as long as it's rectified, like, sure, that is something in this match that was like, maybe, I can understand it would have been nice to have been addressed a lot sooner. At the same time, I can probably also entrust it to a sequel to sort of acknowledge that. So
Why didn't Jack just call Ace to then travel back in time, find the first zombie, and snap its neck?
Well, it makes reference to Return of a Good Man, and Ace would rather let a zombie apocalypse happen than help Jack.
Yeah.
You're right.
No, yeah, no,
That's a good point.
official sequel to Return of a Good Man. I'm kidding.
Yeah, fuck, Ace would do that.
Oh.
I'm trying to think if there's any like behind the scenes trivia, like things that were originally going to be in the match but Bacon High. Oh yeah, chapter 12 almost didn't go in depth as we did because that was actually the last part we were focusing on.
Ooh.
Yeah, we wrote everything else before that chapter because we were like, if we need to cut this, it's the one part that we're okay with going back to.
Yeah.
And but
like minimizing, at least.
I think we wrote it in like 3 sessions because I know I had written like the intro way ahead of time when like we were first planned the match, and it was just like I just want to write some of this. So I wrote the beginning. Then you wrote like a pretty decent chunk, and then I remember just doing an entire session in like one night for like 3 hours straight, just writing. Which
Yeah.
that was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a lot more trivia stuff. I don't know if did you have any extra thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, I think going back to chapter 12, I think the only thing we didn't really, I think one of the major things we didn't have in the planning stages was Gordon's semi-betrayal at bombarding the whole area. Because originally it was supposed to be Toga that infiltrated and then caused the Gotenga to crash. Not Gordon contributing to the downfall.
Also, with that, before anything else, I like how you like a part of you kind of agrees with Gordon, but it's also like I love that no one is agreeing with him narratively.
Yeah.
Like everyone has a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice contrast of like morals and what people do in this kind of situation.
It's like I fucking hate Gordon, but at the same time, the writer in me can't just make him a total piece of shit. It's like, yeah, like Bacon said, you kind of have to agree with him in some respects.
Mm-hmm. There has to be a place.
He's kind of right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of right because half the team is pretty much down already.
Less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, because Tenma ran off like an idiot. Green Man got sniped. Levi, got knocked out of commission. Ozaki was just about gonna die.
Yeah, Ozaki kind of just got jumped.
Yeah. Oh, and Tenma, the reason why he did... Well, Tenma's fate is more of an inside joke with all of us, especially who've seen the show of Grand Caesars. He is probably one of the worst main characters of all time because he always makes it about himself when episodes are clearly dedicated to the other Grand Caesars.
Right.
He literally
But he's
has
the
to show
main
up
character.
Yeah, I get that, but he doesn't need
He's
to
toxic.
solve every problem.
He comes back from the dead twice. That's how powerful he is.
That ain't happening here.
I mean, out of the 12 Grand Caesars, he's the worst one in that show. Heck, even Ran, who was connected to the ancient prophecy or whatever, he still hijacked it from her.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Damn. That's fucked up.
Yeah. So I'm glad we murdered him.
You bring up Grand Caesars, that's another thing. When we were figuring out this idea, we had stuff like the Super X being controlled by zombies, and then like after like discussing, that wasn't like something
Feasible.
realistically that they could do. So when we were coming up with ideas and thinking of compromises, one of the things I thought of was, well, the Grand Caesars, that's a superhero thing. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it would help this world. And I remember having to fight for that a little bit because originally I was told that if a zombified human is connected to a combatant, that shouldn't be allowed. But I had to fight KaijuX on that a little bit, and then it was just like, I mean, you don't need all of them to summon they're basically Zords. I don't know what the
they're
remember
basically
what they're
Zords.
called.
Yeah.
So if you don't need all of them, then having one of them, having a couple of them be zombies doesn't really matter. So that was the winning argument at the time.
Yeah, you got me with that one. So like, all right, no.
Yeah, that's all I could really think of at the moment. I'm pretty sure I'll think of other stuff when Bacon says his stuff.
Okay.
Like I said, there's just so much to unpack here.
Yeah, I mean, it is a literal book. Okay. So start with I guess I'll start with the tone I wanted, because while this had like started with Marvel Zombies as like that's just like a childhood thing, and then the MCU had that episode, it was just like, oh, that's a really cool thing, and it got me like thinking of how I wanted to do a superhero story like that. But so tone wise, I kind of like was really inspired by the DC Comics run Deceased, which is both really action packed and filled with drama, as well as like well written character. So it was kind of a mix of that and the Netflix show from Korea, All of Us Are Dead. So mainly took from those two properties as far as how I wanted to proceed in its tone and character writing. Though if Marvel Zombies had anything to contribute to this besides from the initial idea, is that Chapter 12 was a
Yes, that's right.
direct criticism of Marvel's What If episode, because they're like, all right, so the world goes to shit, the Avengers show up and they're instantly like destroyed. Like none of them had a moment to shine. They also go on the ground level when Hawkeye and Natasha would be useless.
Well, not only that, but Iron Man had the nanotech from an Infinity War. The zombies in no way should be able to pierce it unless they had like Ghost.
Or fucking Hank or Scott, but they don't show it.
Yeah,
So he just goes down, and then you're like, what? That shouldn't be possible. It took Thanos breaking
a
it.
moon. Like,
Yeah.
he got a moon thrown at him.
But so that entire chapter, that's why there's that number of characters too. There's 6 Avengers in the first movie, and then there's Nick Fury. So there's 6 Avengers on the ground and Nick Fury in the Gotengo. Well, Jesus, Gordon in the Gotengo. But
that's insulting to Nick Fury.
you know what? That's very fair.
Nick Fury
but
at least has a soul.
when we were coming up with that roster, it was very much like this also helped with like time frame because like he said earlier, My Hero was kind of a very later edition when we were coming up with the idea. Was Endeavor was one of the later ones, but the first ones we came up with, because I remember specifically I had a visual of Zombie Ozaki using the Kaiser Lightning on Zone Fighter.
Yes.
It was those two immediately. Levi, and then Green Man. Then it was Tenma, then Gordon. Then Endeavor.
Yeah, Tenma because of the funny.
Yeah. That was also something where I was like, if he had like genuinely just not fucked up within like the first minute of the battle, they might have had a slightly better chance. Which is also why, like, yeah, it's funny how he dies, but that's also why I pictured Muscular being the one to do it, because if you're gonna fuck up that bad, might as well have a strong infected immediately on the battlefield.
Actually, one other thing I wanted to point out with that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I can see people going, oh, why'd you make someone so stupid in a zombie movie? Have you not seen a zombie movie? There are literally stupid people all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even people who are normally competent, like the original Dawn of the Dead, like when they're bringing up the semi-trucks to the entrances of the mall. Roger dumbassly says, oh, fuck, I forgot my tools because I was too cocky. And guess what? When he was trying to retrieve it, he got bit twice.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
if the actual zombie apocalypse happened in the real world, someone who listened to the Joe Rogan podcast would get themselves killed immediately.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you not experience 2020? I mean, I think that kind of
If people hiding COVID, they hide in zombie bites. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, without question. Without question.
Oh yeah, and we even referenced that line of dialogue from Dawn of the Dead. We got this by the ass, and it kills both people who say that.
Let's see. Trying to think more of chapter 12 specifically.
Yep, Tenma's last line. We got this by the ass.
Oh yeah, I also specifically with that chapter, I had a lot of fun like writing those characters and their fates, and just emphasizing on this apocalypse. Like this apocalypse is the absolute worst, and it shows very quickly within like the 2 flashbacks to Z-Day that everything went to shit immediately.
I mean, I've told
I
you this in our discussions before. I'm surprised this world even lasted to the zombies with how many
Yep.
settings are in it.
Yep.
yeah, I was
Kaiju
literally about to
monsters.
say that.
Got kaiju superheroes. Everything.
Terrorists.
Meanwhile, Godzilla's just sitting on his arm, like his chair, reading a newspaper.
Yeah, this sounds like not my problem.
I'm a snooze.
I wasn't added to the KWC yet. Wait.
No, so with that chapter, favorite death that Alex wrote was Green Man, for sure, because it's just so sudden.
Mhm.
It comes out of nowhere, and it's those three had like a little bit of hope. They were doing completely fine, and then he immediately got shot.
Yeah, oh yeah, just to interject. Cat's death from Halo Reach was an influence for Green Man. Just that, because I wanted that. Like Bacon said, those three were actually doing pretty well. It's just, I wanted that, oh fuck moment. Like, there's no way they could have predicted that. It's like, yeah, there is something I'll slightly disagree with Bacon on. It's like, if Tenma didn't run off, they would have lasted. I still think they could have lasted a lot longer, but I think it was Green Man getting sniped was what really sealed the deal.
Yeah, then immediately after he shoots Levi, so that kind of yikes.
Yeah.
And then the one I had a lot of fun with when writing their deaths was because I wrote, let's see, I wrote Jet Jaguar, Ozaki, Levi, Zone Fighter, and did I say Jet Jaguar?
Yeah, you said your Jaguar.
Okay, well, I wrote those ones, like the ending, the second half of all that, and I think that my favorite one to write was Zone Fighter. Just getting specifically, I am proud of some king you are, Godzilla. You couldn't even answer the call to war. Answer the call to war from a friend. You don't care about the not bothered by the problems of this planet you rule. Damn you! I just did that on the fly, and I think just that was probably the like best emotional core I got out of writing that part. Though I did so enjoy writing Endeavor's final moments and Jet Jaguar's final moments.
Mhm.
Let's see. Another visual when we were like coming up with the idea was Ozaki catching a bullet and then throwing it back. That was one of the first ideas they came up with. And then let me go to the what chapter 3. I wrote my hometown being fucking butchered by Gamera. That was pretty satisfying. That was real nice, actually. That place sucks.
Heck, I think that was actually the very first part written for this match.
Yep,
'Cause
I
remember
wrote that.
seeing it back in the day.
I wrote that chapter in like one sitting, and I was just like, all right, I destroyed Oak Harbor, Washington. Because one of the things I remember in film class in high school was someone did that as a movie of like just the hometown being infested, got the police in on it and everything to help film for the school. But when I was writing this match, I went, there's no way that they would not blow up the bridge connecting the island to like the mainland and then just not have boats go there. So I wrote my hometown being immediately decimated by the apocalypse. Let's see. I guess overall references I could to the genre are like the 28 months time skip. That's a pretty obvious one. To the 28 days and weeks movies. Uh let's see. Evil Dead had like that's where like Zombie Toga came from. Linda kind of does a similar act of shape-shifting in that movie. So I thought that would be neat.
I wrote the fucking Minecraft zombie and the Tar Man from Return of the Living Dead in
Yep.
chapter 9.
The Minecraft
And the
zombie.
boomer. the
Yeah,
boomer
and
from
Boomer.
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, no, because we were playing a good bit of Left 4 Dead 2 while you guys were still writing it.
Yep, we played through the entire game, both campaigns, and still wrote this match.
And I tried to show you guys a fun little glitch on No Mercy, but I realized that in the Left 4 Dead 2 port of that campaign, they got rid of
They
it,
got
so I
rid of
just
it.
fell to my death.
That was still pretty funny.
Yeah, it was still funny.
Speaking of Left 4 Dead, I have a funny story.
All right.
Because I was talking with Bacon like after the match went up, and we were talking about like the references, and I was like, was Kazuma? I think it was Kazuma carrying the robotic pterodactyl's head in like the last run. Was that a reference to the gnome from Left 4 Dead? And Bacon had no idea what I was talking about.
I know what you're talking about. That did not come up, or that I
Yeah.
did not think of that. Well, I guess that's an unintentional reference then.
Yeah.
We referenced Left 4 Dead 3 times then, because Aaron, Momo, Hideaki, and Jet Jaguar is just a Left 4 Dead group. It's
Which is even funnier because I think all three of us had the Jet Jaguar mod for Ellis in Left 4 Dead.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah,
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Let's see. I'm looking through. The mention of Eden, Biolante's little garden, that is a reference to Poison Ivy's Eden in Deceased, specifically. Then, when we were coming up with the idea, that was one of the first things I came up with was, oh man, that would be a sick idea. I could actually do that. Let's see. The words Scourge and Blight were specific references to World of Warcraft and Dragon Age, how their zombies work.
Same with Forsaken at the end with Akane. That's another Warcraft reference.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Mass Effect with the food that Hideaki and Jiro get.
Fish Dog Food Shack. That is a restaurant in the Mass Effect universe.
Aw.
And I think I mentioned Husk a few times, which is another Mass Effect reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blight is also what applies to Dragon Age.
The only zombie name that I actually came up with originally was Hollowed. That was the only one that I thought of and liked. Because I thought that Blight wasn't a thing, and then you told me that it was, so I unintentionally did not intentionally referenced it, but didn't, just pure accident.
Similar to what GVR pointed out with the pterodactyl head.
Yeah. Shaun of the Dead, Z-Day, that's the news report at the end of the movie, and I did that one on accident too. Same with the Night of the Living Dead reference with Steve Martin when he says you need to shoot them in the head. And in that same line, I referenced Dawn of the Dead with when there's no room in hell, the demons walk among us or something.
Among Us.
Among Us. I realized my mistake as soon as I said that sentence.
If we had any advertisers for KWC's, that prologue part would have had a Dr. Pepper, and Steve Martin would have drank one before he died.
He would have
Just
drank
down
it.
a Dr. Pepper and then blow his brains out.
The Dr. Pepper was spiked with a virus.
Also, GBR, you say that, but I would actually do that in a zombie apocalypse. Down a Dr. Pepper and then blow my brains out.
You drink every
I don't drink.
Hey, hang on, I got it. You drink every other soda, and it's like, this isn't it. This isn't it. Ah, Dr. Pepper, at last.
I'm trying to... In chapter 12, you were talking about how you wish you had the Ultra Sign. The one thing that I wish that I had done is endeavor to use the Fire Net attack. I completely forgot about it. until like I was rewatching clips. I went, "Fuck."
Oh yeah, something I do think we can mention, like with My Hero, the
Yeah.
timeline. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
for My Hero. This is set like right before the raid on Overhaul's base commences. Like the first 3 seasons of My Hero happened, same with the first movie, and then like the first, I think it was like 6 or 8 episodes of season 4 happen before the apocalypse occurs. So that's where the timeline is for My Hero.
Oh, you brought up timeline and made me remember. Chapter 5, Aaron's flashback. I did that in I think 3 sessions, and I am very happy with how I wrote that part, specifically because when we were coming up with the idea, we were like, let's have Mikasa die from the zombies instead of like the Titans, like in the movie, but for real this time. I'm really happy with how I wrote Grisha and Carla, Armin, the detective. Just I think my favorite moment in that entire part that I wrote was Carla's death, just because it's so sudden. And Alex texted me after he read that. He's like, "Damn, that was heartbreaking," and did not realize that he said a pun. Let's see. I am very happy with how Alex wrote Armin. With his encounter with Jet Jaguar, that was exactly what I wanted and how I pictured it. Out of like the zombie meta-humans, well, zombie faction, he was definitely my favorite one. I wrote Tenma's encounter and Ozaki's encounter. So out of like the 2 that I wrote, I would say I preferred Tenma's.
Yeah, definitely Tenma's is my pick.
I liked showing how intelligent the zombies were. At least like the smarter ones were just warped versions of themselves, because if you have a superhero setting that's a zombie setting and they don't use their powers, you're lame. Like, they need to still be threatening.
Yeah, for sure.
Really happy with how I wrote Asagi's death, Gamera. Just I timed that entire scene to the Dead Island trailer music, as well as chapter 12 with Endeavor's speech to when the song ends, Looming Dread from Resident Evil 2 remake. Those were 2 songs that I used. Man, there is a lot to fucking cover.
Yeah, I definitely liked what I wrote for chapter 1. Introducing the characters, their motivations, what their lives are like. Same with, well, chapter 2, obviously. Zombie Armin, that's another good part. Levi and Green Man's interactions. Oh, any moment with Shikishima, I had a blast writing that. Burning
yeah.
Pigment, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And definitely the ending with Eren, Hideki, and Momo. I thought that was a lot of good stuff I loved writing.
For me, I think my favorite parts writing wise, like characters, were the entire intro to chapter 9 until like Eren transforms is some of my favorite writing just in general that I've done, especially Eren's transformation. I am really damn proud of that. Specifically was trying to reference season 1 when he's like pinned down after Annie transforms and he's got the fucking spike through his chest.
Oh yeah.
That was basically what I was trying to do. And then really had fun just writing the antagonists and the 2 like sizing each other up. Really love the line. That's That's a pretty interesting threat, my friend. What did he say? That he would feed me my own heart. Oh, another reference. When Jet Jaguar is pushing forward, during that segment, he's blocking the bullets like Winter Soldier does in Civil War,
Yes.
using his palm to do it.
Oh yeah. I don't know if KaijuX caught this, but Shikishima does have a line that Zeke says. Same chapter where Shikishima saves Kazama from getting devoured. He says, Kazama, you got very lucky today. Instead of Reiner, you got very lucky.
Oh, right. Yeah, oh, right. Oh, yeah, speaking of characters, actually one I wanted to bring up real quick. One that I haven't really heard being mentioned. Yuki. I kind of enjoy, like, the fact that he's like, oh, yeah, he's unwillingly part of this, like, Raiders group. But he's still, like, he has, out of that entire group, he's the one that's, like, trying to maintain his moral compass throughout it. So I just kind of love the fact that he low-key sabotages the entire Super X portion during that.
Yeah.
During that port. Yuki was just a really fun character, and again, it kind of gives the Raider side a little bit more complexity because it does kind of match up with that whole, like, oh, these are all people just gathering together kind of feel. Like they're all still individuals, and again, that was another like enjoyable highlight of the story. So.
Oh, yeah, something with when Yuki and Kazama are talking a little bit at the start of chapter 9 about, killing all those civilians. Big inspiration from that was Commander Cody and Crosshair in Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2.
Yeah, definitely that episode.
Yeah, just their interactions, how they observe war. I kind of wanted a similar vibe to those two. And then my favorite characters to write were like Gamera. I wrote chapters 3, 10, and most of the final fight with Gamera. And he was just really damn fun to write with. Having him be the antagonistic force without, in a creative way, not feeling like it's just him being evil to be evil. Loved how feral I wrote him during the combat. Chapter 10, my favorite part was like him realizing he's tasting the meat that Asagi is eating and just trying to get rid of that taste is a grotesque visual.
Yes, no, I remember.
Needs more Italian seasoning.
Aww.
We're gonna, yeah, no. Clearly, she needs to be dropped off in Italy. Anyway, freaking, yeah, no, I remember when when you and Bacon were still working on it. I remember him pitching it to me. I'm like, yes. That got my immediate approval.
Let's see. Shikishima. Bernie. My favorite Avenger was writing for was Zone Fighter.
Yeah, I think Levi was still my favorite Avenger to write. Other characters I loved writing: Aaron, Hiana, Shikishima, Bernie, Pigman, Armin. Actually, yeah, I think like GVR point now, it's like, yeah, I'm actually really glad that I got to improve on Momo because she's a character with potential, but obviously you've seen the show and how her appearance is. You know what exactly she is for a lot of the weebs.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, but My Hero is a great story. I still love it, but it kind of fumbles its sidecast.
Yeah, I mostly just meant the fact that it's like Mom actually gets to be like more of a character here and do stuff, where in the actual show she just sort of is relegated to the sidelines.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunately a problem with a lot of My Hero, in my opinion. It's like, it's a great Izuku story, but it doesn't really focus on the high school thing.
You mean introducing 20 characters and hyping them all up is a bad idea?
Right? Because it's like, that's 20 different characters that need all their own functional stories. It's like, yeah, no, it's a great, My Hero Academia is a great Izuku story. It's great for him, but it's not like the interesting premise of like an entire like high school class of superheroes is a damn well interesting concept. But they like unfortunately most of its characters become relegated to the sidelines as things progress, which is
Not
kind of a
only
shame.
that, but they focus on the actual heroes. It's like, no, focus on these students. They're more interesting.
Yeah.
That's like, it feels like really only 6 of them get focused on.
Mhm.
Izuku, Ida, Ochaku, Sue, Kachan, and Shoto.
Yeah.
Those are like the
Yeah.
main 6.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, no, it was really nice to have like, yeah, no, I didn't appreciate, well, not that I didn't appreciate her being here, but thinking about it now, I'm like, oh yeah, no, she really kind of got shafted in the main series, didn't she? It was like, despite doing a kind of awesome thing against Gigantomachia in the like recent season, but, bring it. But it was
Yeah, they'll get one moment and then back to the Dragon Ball human bin.
right, pretty much. I was like, yeah, no, she doesn't.
That is insulting to Krillin, sir.
But yeah, no, it's like, yeah, no, there's definitely more you could have, like, more that could have been done. Yeah, no, it was great to let this match, let her be kind of like the main face of My Hero for this particular match. That was nice.
And it
Oh.
actually shows why the support class is vital for a team.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yep. With My Hero, another part that I like doing, like with the very end when they get home, I love that we did like a pretty hopeful ending for our characters. Like there's still hope in the world. But I'm still very proud that we wrote that he wrote Zuku's like message as you could take that as either they're alive or something's up because we know that zombies are intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know which is which.
Mm-hmm.
I loved our like just there's so much to say still, and I could probably think of more and more and more, but between
We're gonna think of a bunch of shit the moment this ends.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Writing this and match 100 of the KWCE are definitely my proudest like writing of like ever. I wrote like 2 novels
Hell
in
yeah.
a year,
Hell yeah. Let's go.
and that is insane, especially because back in I don't remember what fucking year I called this, but I called match 420 like forever ago.
Oh yeah.
Like
Because
I'm the stoner funny man,
Stoner funny man, yeah.
so give it to me now. And
We
then
both wrote like 2 novels this year.
yeah, that it's insane. We especially because we wrote this in under a month.
Alex and Bacon have cinematic parallels.
He's Reiner and I'm Aaron when they're talking about war. That's all we are. I also loved like recontextualizing settings, like how the Attack on Titan cast is in a more modern Earth. I loved doing that. Loved even with the retcon of like the My Hero characters are like not as sporadic. I feel like it kind of helps because when it gets to like later, there's so much variety that we're going to have with this project that My Hero having every single person be a quirk user just feels kind of like it kind of takes away from all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that recontextualization. It feels more like mutants from X-Men,
Yeah.
which I also dig. Let's see. What's another recontextualization? Just like when you're reading the match and they mention things like Gamera has fought the Legion and the Gauss, but like obviously things had happened at different times or in different circumstances because we mention events like that, but Asagi is still connected to Gamera. So I really loved throwing in like some of this stuff happened, but it's up to you to like think of how it did. this world has a vast history kind of thing.
I don't want to think.
Aside from My Hero, which we do have a clear where this actually stops at before the apocalypse.
Yeah. I loved
And
our
that one
cast
should
of
actually be addressed.
yeah. I really loved our like cast of side characters, just the like people that were mentioned or seen for a couple scenes. I really dig. It gives like a better sense of like hope, and also just like it's nice to have this variety of cast and different roles. But yeah, I'm immensely proud of this entire story, and I cannot wait to show what is next because
sure.
it will get insane.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, I think that definitely wraps up like a lot of good elements for the discussion. Because that was a lot. That was a freaking lot.
I have, sorry to interrupt. I have only one question for both of you.
Okay.
That before we move on
All
is what was your favorite death in chapter 12?
Okay, favorite death in chapter 12. Ooh, yeah, hang on. I'm looking it over real quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
He didn't read it.
Damn. As well, second question is favorite like infected.
Oh, I know you guys already know that answer, but hang on.
Armin.
Yeah, he said Armin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
GVR, what's your favorite infected?
He didn't read it either.
No, hold on. No, brain, come on, cooperate with me. I had an answer for this before when you asked me, but I forgot what that answer was. So I'm going to now say that the answer is my favorite. Muscular. Yeah, I'm gonna go with muscular. Just like Ozaki.
Okay, yeah, no, I could see that.
Just because of like how ruthlessly efficient he was.
Mhm.
Yeah, my favorite infected for writing was surprisingly Kasagiri Man, the one that kills Carla, just
Yeah.
because again, damn threatening.
And my favorite death from chapter 12 was Zone Fighters.
Hey,
Shit.
Ew.
Yeah, no, I think it might have been. Yeah, no, I'm looking through it. I think it might have been Green Man. Just how sudden that came. It was like, geez Louise. It was either Green Man's or Jaguar Yoon. I think those were like the two that kind of got to me. Out of them, so it's like, yeah, it was still rad. But again, yeah, no, favorite infected is still the Armin zombie. That again, it's the idea of an intelligent zombie. An intelligent zombie with a pretty big like grudge is terrifying. So I am eagerly looking forward to it more. What the heck?
I'm pretty sure that wraps it up, unless Birdman has something to say.
No, he said he didn't read the match.
He doesn't
Yeah.
smoke weed. No, I don't smoke weed. That's exactly what he said. For
How
me.
dare he? How dare he insult my lineage?
But yeah, no. Nevertheless, though. Well, yeah, no. That was match one. Oh gosh, jeez Louise, I forgot how to.
100? Did you just say 100?
I said one. I was gonna say 105 because that's the next match we're gonna do. And it was like that was match 420, and now at last, an hour and a half later, match 105 of the KWCE.
All right.
Yeah, no,
I
GBR
will
take
seize
over.
control.
Yeah, seize control
Okay.
from me temporarily until my brain turns into goop. Wait.
Oh, good.
Okay.
This is the part where I can fall asleep.
Yeah, I already know you didn't read it. KaijuX, did you read the
No,
match?
I actually
I
read
said-
it. I just don't have a lot to say.
I sadly
Okay.
didn't read. The sad part is, I wanted to read this, before, but every single time I opened it up, I just could not get the energy to read it. My
Yeah.
brain just did not cooperate with me with reading, even though it has Red and Solomon. I was like, bruh, no! And the
Why
classic
you insulting
Showa trio. And the classic Showa trio. It's like, oh, this is gonna be great. My brain's not cooperating with me now. Shit!
Okay, do you mind if I spoil it when I talk
Yeah.
about the match?
That's fine. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. This was our Halloween special this year. We did 2 matches in October. We'll talk about the first match in October the next time we gather.
Yeah.
I know KaijuX said that he's probably going to release this after the next one we record, but for the record, this is the first one
Yeah,
of
this
this like
first-
group.
First one we're doing as a group, and then we're going back to the ones before this, and then we're gonna be, but we have everything planned out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is our Halloween special, written by Ultimate Ditto. It's Showa Godzilla, Showa Gamera, and the original Ultraman, taking on Red and Solomon by Ultimate Ditto, who you may know as Lane and Soto. And I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a great Halloween match. I love any match that uses dreams.
Hmm.
Is this your way of saying so I could crush them?
Yes. But yeah, I just love matches that like use dream stuff, like in All Monsters Attack. I refuse to call it Godzilla's Revenge. He's not getting revenge on anything because of how much like potential it has and how much stuff you can do with it. And this match does so really well. It's a very fun action sequence. So yeah, fun fights going on here. Lots of good stuff. Uses all 5 combatants very well, especially Ultraman when he shows up near the end. I love how this uses powers that he doesn't have in the KWC. Especially like the gigantification and like the duplication thing he can do.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yeah, like this match makes good usage of Red's terrifying nature as like a nightmarish creature. I love how this happens because of the fact that the protagonist read the creepypasta before going to bed.
Oh, that's kind of smart. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, and I especially adore the reveal at the very end that our protagonist is actually the son of Ichiro. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I read this. I just don't
Yeah.
have a lot to say.
And I figured, like, because it is mostly fighting. Like, there's not a whole lot to go into. It's mostly just like it's real fun.
Yeah, no, I don't care for. I never cared for the red creepypasta, but this was a solid story. It's like I could see why this was a Halloween match. It's eerie, it's creepy, and yeah, the fun reveal that the protagonist is Ichiro's son, and the fun novelty of Godzilla, Gamera, and Ultraman teaming up to save a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, I
Just
could
a
see
fun
this-
story.
Yeah, I could see this as like an actual like thing.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Aw.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Okay, Bacon said BRB. So he probably went back for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll ask him about the match when he gets back. He
Yeah.
probably hasn't read it, but I'll still ask anyway.
Oh.
I started reading it, but I unfortunately got carried away by life. But I was liking what I read. I got to like I think right as the battle was about to start, but I found it to be a fun read from what I read.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Ditto. He's a very solid writer. So like, hell yeah. This just in. This is me coming in afterwards here to say something from Ultimate Ditto, the author to KWCE Match 105. The Ultra Star item used in the final parts of the match was discovered by accident/coincidence. Ultraman has a move called Ultra Spacium Shushu Flash, where he appears to charge energy into normal batons from a group of sisters for a special attack. I wanted something similar to happen with the main protagonist, but couldn't think of any object that would work. So one day I was watching Tiga on Tokushatsu. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. and they were playing the special episode where Subaraya actually meets Ultraman, where the Ultra Star was gifted to Subaraya by Ultraman, and I knew that would be the perfect for the protagonist to use against Red. That was very nice. And this has been post-edit emergency KaijuX cut. Back to the show.
KWC 420 takes an hour and a half to discuss. KWCE 105 takes 2 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That unfortunately very, very much sounds about right.
Now for 3 hours of -1.
Oh fuck no.
No. I think we're still going to talk about -1 and obviously go in depth on it, but I have a feeling that we're all just like going to
I think
Go
we're all
in.
tired right now.
yeah, we're all going to be quick about it.
Yeah, no, I think that, like I said, I don't think I'll be able to, like, compared to that hour and a half endurance round that was the 420 discussion, again, I don't think anything's going to match up to that. So it's like, yeah, no.
-1 is peak. It's one of the best Godzilla movies ever made. Stands
Wait.
right up alongside G54.
Wait.
Every aspect of it is excellent. Goodbye.
I saw it 3 times. That means you know it's really good.
Yeah. Wait, we forgot to transition to something we
No,
haven't-
that was the transition.
That was the transition?
We're
Forgot to
tired. The KWCE took forever.
Yeah, man,
KWX.
we're exhausted after.
KWX, you don't understand. We are in control of this podcast because you fumbled at the beginning. So that was the transition. Now it is not the -1 talk. PBR has given his thoughts. It is now your turn. Anderson Sosamaski. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, no, oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, no, it's been a while since we last did sort of like a movie discussion on, like, new Godzilla movie. We don't do it as much anymore just because it was like, don't really feel like it. Or at least and it's just been a bit, I thought it'd be nice to be talk about -1.
Yeah,
Even
we
just for a
definitely
little bit.
skimped out on the QAnon's version of Gamera a couple months ago.
Gamma Rebirth was cool there.
Yeah, there we go.
It was just if a QAnon supporter wrote it.
It was fun. The end.
Yeah, no, I rewatched it recently. It was fun, but I do have my criticisms with it. But this is -1, not Rebirth. So it's like, yeah, you just asked me. It's like, oh, how did I think of Rebirth? I wouldn't mind going into it just on, like, personal level. But that's not.
Make a video essay on your channel. Leave us out of it.
Great idea. Strike while the iron's cold. Anyway, but friggin', yeah, Godzilla -1 is hot. Damn. What? Like, granted, I had a very minor interruption in the theater just because friggin' there was a snoring asshole in there somewhere, and I was like, oh, screw you. But freaking, him aside, I was still able to focus mostly on the movie, and was like, oh, I feel like I said, this I think very easily shoots up to like my top 3 picks for Godzilla movies, very easily. My initial reaction was sort of like hopping between this and Shin Godzilla, but I think I'm not sure how to put it in my like enjoyment realm right now, because it's like I think both of them hit very different cues for me, both which I kind of love and adore because of how different they are, despite taking the premise of like solo Godzilla story. What do you do with it? It's like this Shin 54 and 84 all take very different approaches to like the idea and the themes of Godzilla, like at its core, into like very different places and directions. This may just top Shin by a margin for me because it is such a well-structured film. I almost can't think of anything that could be really improved on. Everything from like, oh yeah, no, spoiler territory too. I don't think there's a need to really hold back on this, especially since this has been like a week or 2 since it's been out. Keeps on getting extended runs, is currently breaking records. Freaking fantastic. That's awesome. But freaking, yeah, Godzilla -1 is like holy crap! No, it's been a good while since we've had like a truly terrifying Godzilla, and it was like not just that, not just a terrifying Godzilla, but an extremely compelling human story with it. One that's both fundamentally simple, but yet at the same time emotionally hard hitting in all the best places. It was like
Yes.
it's such a compelling like character, like a drama piece that just has a giant monster in it, and I think that's how it should be in a way. It was like just make it a compelling, like, yeah, just make it a compelling genre, and then you put Godzilla in there, kind of thing. Because it's like, as long as it services the story, then hell yeah. And this absolutely is in service to the story being told. It's beautiful. It is like, oh, it's so good because it feels like every character, every like, everything the main character does, everything the side characters do, all, and even everything Godzilla does, all kind of adds up to something. It was like, and it's like, as much as I love Shin, I can't say the same for that. It was like, I understand its direction, its tone. I understand the direction, tone, and intentions of that movie. I even understand, to a degree, its limitations. Like, when it comes to, like, sort of, like, the much more flat characters with that. And it's like, I still feel like that one works as sort of, like, a political procedural kind of movie. And I think that's still, even though not all of its elements are great, particularly with the English elements of Shin Godzilla, it was like, oh, that's a little distracting. But it's still kind of like, I can't think of any of those kind of issues with -1 because it's all so solidly told. It all feels it kind of feels very real. It was just like, it was nice to also have a Godzilla that went back to basics, but it was still so cool to see just Godzilla in action. I think because he like services the story so well, I don't mind the fact that this Godzilla is like on the simpler front. But I do love like some of the visual presentations, like, oh, when Godzilla charges the atomic ray, his spikes like jut out, and then they all like push back in at the same time. That is
Yeah, it's like the pylons of a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, no, that is sick. That is so sick. But it's like, yeah, no, it's like, but even then, it's like still very much a traditional Godzilla, but like in the coolest way you can ask for. But yeah, no, like I said, the characters are what make this movie here. Like, they are the thing that, like, you could show this movie unironically to a person who has never seen Godzilla and be like, this is the core of the character. And yeah, I know, you'd get it. You would get it. And the surprise freaking introduction of Godzilla source, what's basically this story's Godzilla source at the beginning of the movie. Holy shit. That was the most, like, unexpected swerve. I wasn't expecting that for, like, another, like, 10, 15 minutes. No, it's in, like, the first 4 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that immediately tells you what kind of movie you're getting into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is.
Right. No, it's a great tone
awesome.
setter. It's a great tone setter. Like, yeah, no, GD4 teases Godzilla at the beginning, but this is just like, jeez Louise, holy moly.
It's like that Kirby meme. Godzilla's fucking pissed.
Yeah, no, there's this. Yeah, no, like I said, I really, really love this movie. Solo Japanese Godzilla movies continue to be peak among the entire series, and yeah, -1 holds true to that.
I'm day 1 4K box set. Here I come.
Amen, brother. Amen. I'm broke? Nah, that doesn't matter.
Another thing I never see
Real.
people really talk about much is the set design, like the ruins of Tokyo, like at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is some of the best set design I've ever seen. It's like,
It's
that
really
is so good.
It's really, really good. And on top of that, too, again, we need to say the CGI is freaking excellent for apparently, allegedly, for being less than 15 million.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
like,
that regeneration scene. Oh, that is so awesome to see.
right? No, it was like, it's so weird because it's like Godzilla's always had regeneration, right? And it's like, it was even like an important plot point in Godzilla 2000, but we never see it. It was like, I never realized how long the series has gone on. This is the first time we actively see, oh, you blow his face off and he just kind of comes back from it. It's really the first time we get to see that. Most of the other times it's just sort of like a suggestion, if that, it feels weird to put it like that. But it kind of makes all the other Godzilla movies feel like, oh, these are more like suggestions. Like, I think the only other time the regeneration was ever put on, the only other time I could think of where it was ever put up front was Godzilla Earth. When they blow his spines off, you do see the spines come back. Or at least with Phileas. But even then, it was just like, I know, like, regeneration of the skin. It's like, you don't really get to see that. It's like, huh, interesting. But yeah, no, it's just so good. It is so freaking good. Oh, yeah, no, -1. Wonderful movie. If it's still in theaters by the time this comes out, watch it, because it keeps getting its runs extended. I swear.
Yeah, like this is the second time I've seen it extended at my theater.
Yeah, nice.
And I've seen it 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie to death.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I cannot, like, to me, I just can't think of a single thing wrong with it. I think even usually, like, the ending, going on that real quick. Usually, I'm never too huge on fake-out endings, but this is kind of like one of those extremely, I don't even know what it is exactly. This is just one of these weird, rare exceptions where I actually don't mind at all the fake-out, like it turns out Noriko, like, who gets blasted away by Godzilla's atomic breath halfway through the film, actually survives it. And
Dude,
yeah, no, not in the best condition, and there's a little something to that too. But it feels like earned by the movie in my mind. And even going back, it could just be like the dramatic presentation of like the music and whatnot, and sort of the tone going back to those earlier scenes, the fact that she's alive, it still works incredibly well. Like, because I think what was important is not so much, whether or not she's dead or alive, it's how Koichi Shikishima continues without her. How it fulfills his story, and how it just sort of like moves, like how it keeps moving. Like she could have been legitimately dead, and for the most part, we could have gotten the exact same outcome. For the most part. But I still feel like it kind of earned, like, for what I hear was apparently a last-second decision, which is kind of shocking. It was like, yeah, no, this is like one of those super rare instances where I think it just works super favorably.
Dude, that scene when Noriko was like swept away, my eyes like widened and my jaw dropped for like several minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've like grown to love these characters,
Mm-hmm.
and like that was extremely shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so fucking relieved at the end when it turns out she lived.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, as a doom and gloom guy, this is actually the one of the few instances I don't mind a happier ending. It was like, and yeah, no, I think that's what makes -1 stand out compared to some of the other Godzilla movies. It was like, you would expect it, surprisingly, with the premise, where Japan is taken lower than 0. Like, Japan is at its worst state, and then Godzilla appears. It's like, you would kind of expect, like, an extremely, like, doom and gloom kind of setup from that premise, but its message about humanity is surprisingly, like, both potent and optimistic. And I think that kind of makes it, like, refreshingly different, because it's not aping off of G54, which, while I still love them, I think I almost prefer G54 only for the melancholic tone. And that's purely a subjective choice thing. So it's like, it was like, yeah, no, that's admittedly down to personal taste more than anything else. But like, as a movie though, it's still extremely like well-rounded, still very solid. It like has a lot to say. It's enough of a crowd pleaser, but still has enough like artistic depth to appreciate it. It's that wonderful, wonderful area where it's like you could show this to anyone. Still really, really amazingly made movie. And just, it's so good. So freaking good. Oh man, no. -1, fantastic. I could never stress enough. Fantastic. I rambled on long enough. Bacon, what'd you think of it?
Another masterpiece, James. Complete, comprehensive. Fantastic movie from start to finish with amazing character arcs, fantastic visuals that some shots look kind of uncanny at times. Great music, great atmosphere, just all around a really good character drama with Godzilla in it.
Mhm.
I also do not want to root for this Godzilla if we get any sequels. He is a bastard. Like even as a just normal animal, he wasn't eating them. He was just fucking killing them.
Mhm.
It does a really good job of making him not sympathetic.
He had no choice though. Toho said he can't eat people.
Damn. Let's see. All around, just I almost fucking cried when it was revealed that Noriko was alive, and then the ultimate fucking dread and horror upon my face as you see the black vein on her neck.
Yeah, or whatever
And
the heck
you're
that
like,
is. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that is. What the fuck is that?
Oh, right. It's like it's the one thing that takes away from the idea of it being a truly happy ending. But it was like I feel like it, like I said, I think it kind of like it's the right call because it was like it calls into question of exactly how she survived. And it's like that's kind of interesting. And it's like again, there are a lot of theories out there in regards to that, but it's still like yeah, no, it was like I still really like it too because if anyone was gonna ask Koichi if his war was over, it was Noriko. She's the character that had to ask that. So it's like, yeah, no, that was, and actually something I didn't realize. It was like technically he never gives an answer. He was just crying. So it's like interesting. It was never stated. Sure, inferred, which works as a movie by itself. But like when the idea of sequels come onto the table, it is kind of interesting that it's like, oh yeah, no, the question she asked was never answered. That was interesting. So it allows it to be standalone with obviously the inference that the war is over because the movie is over. But if we get a sequel to it, I think it's a great way to keep it not set in stone and allow for more opportunities in the future. So yeah.
Oh, let's see. I don't know what I could say that hasn't already been said. I loved that as the commentary was important in the original and in Shin, it is very much a commentary on how the Japanese government treated its people
Yep.
during that time
Yeah.
and how society treated just other people like at the beginning when the neighbor I forget her name.
Sumiko.
Sumiko, when she's like yelling at Koichi about like you dishonor or your people, if you had not been a coward, this wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like social commentary on it. I loved the ending. Not a single damn life was lost.
Mm.
Which
So
was
the tugboats coming in is a better portal scene than the actual portals from Endgame.
mayhaps.
I
Maybe.
think so, yeah.
For sure. Without a doubt.
And you only need to do that in one movie.
But yeah, the whole movie was utterly fantastic. There is nothing. I have zero complaints about the movie at all. Like even rewatching the movie with some friends the other day, we were like, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting a happy ending, and usually I would care, but I don't care that she survived."
Yeah.
It's fantastic that she's alive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had a really good time with the movie. Best Reiwa Godzilla and my second favorite Godzilla movie of all time. So
Yeah, it's number 3 for me. Behind G54 and Terror Mechagodzilla.
Let's go.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
All 3 are pretty much like perfect movies. It's just mostly like a matter of personal preference.
Yeah. I have like Terror Godzilla is really good. It's still high up there for me, but I think there are a lot of like technical elements that I have that I don't quite gel with that movie. And again, it could be like taking some of its elements literally or whatever, but it's still but,
Yeah, KaijuX, I don't care. It's
I know
peak.
you don't. At least it actually has characters compared to Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, which I was like, who are these characters?
Well, not only that, but a good number of the characters just disappear randomly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I know Terror Mechagodzilla has, like weird green screen stuff, but it's like just that. By that same token, you can be like, a G54, the
No,
way
it's
this truck falls in this scene is weird. And I'm
No,
sure
no,
if you
no,
watch
not-
minus
not-
150 times, you'll
not,
poke out.
not necessarily those technical, like the actual special effects. It was like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, like script. Like sometimes some element of the script felt, I don't know, it was kind of inconsistent at times. It was like 15 years,
Step
20
down
years. Well, yeah,
From the KWC.
oh,
kill
okay. No, I was
him.
like, yeah, you first. Anyway,
Oh yeah, you're gonna really take on 3 fully grown men. And you're a tiny little fat boy. I don't want to hear it.
it's called my fat is distributed. I can make myself taller.
Guess what, bitch? I have a Glock. I can just shoot you.
But,
Hey, yo, Mr. White, there's a bitch right here. Well, shut the fuck up.
Again, I like how you call him tiny when he's the same height as Alex, and
Yeah.
only 1 inch shorter than you.
Yeah, but like 5'11" versus 6 foot. He doesn't stand a chance against us 3. All Alex has to say is a certain word that starts with C, and GBR just has to fucking hit him. And I roast him to death.
Dang blast. Oh yeah, no. Did anyone else have any additional thoughts? -1. Who else is in here? Okay, it's just the 4 of us.
Literally just us.
I
That dinner scene where Shikishima invites all of his coworkers to dinner, that was really nice.
Yeah, no, the
A great
downtime was
moment.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, like
In
I said,
fact, you actually really feel it when at first Shikishima doesn't want that life with Noriko and Akio.
yeah. Right. No, it's like
yeah, just the whole story of Shikishima is easily one of the best human stories in the entire franchise.
Easily, very easily. So.
Like, I saw this movie with both of my parents, who are not really like film people, and they were both just like, that was excellent.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because it's like, it's a story that is very heavily rooted in Japanese culture, but at the same time, it manages to tell a story that resonates with anyone, regardless of their culture, due to being rooted in just humanity, in the human experience.
Yes, completely agree, and I think that's what makes this story so powerful. That was just like, yeah, no, the entire a lot everything about the setting, everything about the environment is super Japanese, but it's like, yeah, the actual experience of facing trauma and overcoming your demons is like, even how those demons manifest. But what I got out of it was like when Godzilla was just a dinosaur at the beginning of the movie. It was sort of like that encapsulated the war trauma of World War II, right? That whole experience, that whole event, and even in his inability, the ability to value his life over the honor that they had to adhere to. But it was like, I also saw Godzilla as sort of like that trauma growing and becoming worse the longer it was kept in. So it's like I feel like, yeah, no, Godzilla himself was very much connected to, not in a literal sense, but like symbolically connected to Koichi, because it was like that was a trauma he needed to face and one that he needed to overcome. And the fact that that ultimately came down to like live was like beautiful and powerful.
Yes, the thing of him flying the plane towards Godzilla, and you don't know, and you think he's going to kamikaze himself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that whole sequence where you don't know that he's going to eject.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It is so powerful.
Right. And even when you, and again, when you rewatch it, I think it's still really good too, because it's still the like motivations. I was like, it's very clear Noriko was the one on his mind. I kind of figured there has to be an ejection seat in that thing, but it was also at the time ambiguous enough to whether or not it was actually like there. It was like, oh no, is he actually going to commit to it? But even rewatching it, like knowing that, again, it's still like just as suspenseful and powerful as it was the first time. Like, yeah, no, there was no like, to me, yeah, -1 I think works really damn well on rewatches. It really does.
I need to rewatch it. I really do. I've only seen it once.
Yeah, no, so it's like, yeah, this is a movie that works incredibly well the first time for like, the shocks, its twists, and surprises. And then I think it works really well the second time just for being an extremely compelling story. Like, I think there's just a lot more like smaller facets you get to focus on the second time that just makes it like it's not a dull experience. It's still just as engaging as it was the first time. It was like, god damn, it's incredible. It really is. But yeah, freaking A. But yeah, did anyone else have anything else to say about -1? And then,
No scene in a movie has made my heart like explode as much as the very ending did when it was first the almost crying over the reveal that Noriko was alive,
mhm.
and then showing the black veins on her neck, and then Godzilla regenerating.
Yeah. Like, oh
So like
shit.
I had
GBR
been,
could cry.
yes, I have emotions. I just don't like them.
I too almost cried both times.
Yeah, like I've never. It's hard to. Okay, I don't think I've ever had a movie like emotionally fighting game combo me.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way I can describe that string of revelations. Oh, she's alive. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Yeah.
The only other movie to do that to GBR was the Care Bears movie.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah,
Well-
I think we're all just feeling tired, so that's why we're not saying as much. But yeah,
We've
this
also
movie's
talked
awesome.
about how amazing this movie is, like over and over again when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we kind of like spilled our beans like day one, so it was like a little hard to like. I probably would have been more
We all
thorough.
creamed our spinach.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like we've all pretty much agreed that our favorite part of the movie is the whole movie.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Favorite scene, the movie.
It's like I don't think there's really I really do not think there's much we could say without parodying someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that it's hard to say, but it's like we're all kind of in agreement here, and hopefully you guys listening to this are also in agreement. And if not, I'll you are my body shield as I run away from these three about how Terror Mechagodzilla has inconsistencies. See ya.
Get him.
Take him!
Yeah, we're gonna have to kill KaijuX for that.
Yeah, this has been the yeah, no, we're doing this like off the cuff recording. See you guys at the live stream, which will hopefully be later this month. And then I'm hoping if things go well, there'll be a live stream later this month. I'll cover like all of the stuff from Yamato month, and then we'll have another live stream. I think maybe like sometime in early January, covering like in early January covering like all the other matches after that. So it's like, so hopefully we'll have everything in order by then. That's a giant hope. But nevertheless, I gotta run away, and see you guys next time on KWCC.
They'll see us. They won't see you.
KaijuX, your Terra Mechagodzilla thoughts are probably the worst takes you've ever had.
I mean, I'd still rank the movie highly, though.
Irrelevant.
Oh,
Kill him.
he said it wasn't a masterpiece! I want this fucker to hog my jumper cables!
There are no inconsistencies.
Explain why they jump between 15 and 20 years.
Explain to me how you're gonna jump 5 to 20 feet when I push you off a cliff, Cracker!